and then goes to throw this like huge haymaker at the guy John's talking to. He misses completely. And then in the act of missing and going down, one of the other guy's friends decks Steve in the face.
Well,
right?
he's already on the way down.
Yeah, on the way down. Yeah. So, and then they start kicking Steve, and I'm like, God damn it.
Good.
So, yeah.
Steve sounds like he sucks. I'm glad Steve got hit. This is recording. That's recording. Oh, I gotta sit over here. So, what sport do you know the most about?
Rugby.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How did that start?
I played rugby for 8 years.
Did you?
Yeah. Got pretty involved. Did pretty well for myself. Got to play internationally a couple times.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
I never knew this about you.
Yeah, I don't know, previous life kind of thing. It just did it for a long time, and then when I kind of reached my ceiling, I just decided to start doing something else. That's when I started doing stand-up.
Fascinating. So internationally, did you go to New Zealand? Did you go to Samoa?
I've played in Hong Kong before.
How's bodying those little Asian boys?
Well, you know, people travel from all over the world.
Oh,
to play
okay.
in Hong Kong.
It wasn't just you bullying.
It's not just a bunch of Asian people. You know, Hong Kong's actually an epicenter of the world. it's very popular.
Actually, a
place.
major metropolitan area.
Yeah, it's pretty big, actually. Major trade route, trade hub, port.
Ever heheard of it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we weren't going to, like, the Gobi Desert in
Right.
China. So, I mean, yeah, that's fun thing about rugby is that there's literally a position for almost like any body type, like any size person. It just really depends on what you're good at, and that's why it's a fun game. It's like it's a total team game.
Yeah.
So it's like just because you're not the biggest guy in the field doesn't really matter. There's like a position for you, so to speak.
My wife got. I mean, I've always liked. Like I watch baseball highlights.
Uh-huh.
But I don't sit and watch baseball.
Yeah, it's boring as hell.
Boring as hell. Baseball highlights trick me into thinking baseball is interesting.
No, the highlights are all you really need.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. It's like hearing a car accident because I don't watch games enough, and when I'm at a game, sometimes I'll get distracted and I won't be paying attention, and then all of a sudden you'll hear somebody hit the ball, like you hear a car crash, and you're like, God damn it, I missed it.
Yeah. I was
like,
too busy
nothing's
riffing.
happened in an hour, and I just missed the only thing that's happened.
Me and my buddy, we were at when we were in high school, we were at UFC 150, and it was in Denver. It's the only UFC event I've ever been to, and it was boring as hell.
Really?
The problem with being at altitude in Denver is that all the fighters gas out immediately.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was just so boring. And so we went to go like, all right, let's go get funnel cake. And as soon as we got funnel cake, like huge highlight reel knockout.
It was a huge knockout, yeah.
An absolute nightmare.
I always think it's funny. Like, have you been to a Nuggets game?
No.
They do this stupid thing where they have cheerleaders come out with like big signs and they throw this up on like the screens. They're like, altitude warning, altitude warning. Like they're reminding the professional athletes
to drink water.
Yeah, that they're like, oh no, there's less oxygen here. It's like I think they got it. I think they can handle it.
Is it to like get in their heads?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like-
okay.
yeah, but I just don't understand how that would work. Like these guys train with the best trainers in the world. You don't think they prepared for this?
They prepare to be a little bit higher.
Yeah, you don't think they like did workouts with a sock in their mouth or something to limit the oxygen exposure? It's just like
I always see that stuff where like, I mean, the only sport I really follow is mixed martial arts and pro wrestling. But like in mixed martial arts, it's a relatively new sport. And I don't know if this affects it because I don't really follow a lot of other sports. But like you see like a lot of guys like go and fight and they have like the cupping,
yeah,
like round sores on their back.
uh-huh.
And I think there's like zero research ever at all that has ever implied that cupping can help you in any way.
I don't
there's
know
like
enough about it.
there's like whatever, that sounds good.
Well, in theory, I guess it makes sense. The whole point is just to kind of get your blood moving, right?
Yeah, but I don't think
Just to like help your blood circulate.
that's how it works.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this, Russell. You've never struck me as the pinnacle of health, so I don't know why you feel like the expert
Well, no,
on this.
it's just like someone told me once because I would go to get like chiropractic. And they're like, okay, think about this. So a man is moving your spine with his hands. And I'm like, correct. They're like, do you think that's possible? And I'm like, well, clearly a chiropractor is doing it to me. Like, think of the NFL. if your spine was weak enough that someone could move it with their hands, anytime someone got tackled in the NFL, they would be dead forever.
Yeah.
Your spine's not supposed to move. It's its whole job. And I'm like, oh, that's actually a really great point.
Well, I don't know about long-term benefits with chiropractors for your back specifically, but I definitely remember when I had more back pain at one point, like it would temporarily make me feel better. The only time a chiropractor actually ever really helped me, it really didn't have anything to do with my back. My hamstrings were just so tight that it was actually causing me back pain.
Huh.
So his whole thing was, first of all, I walk on the blades of my feet. I never knew that, right? So
is that the edge of your
it's
foot?
the outside. So
yeah.
I've been doing that my whole fucking life, and I had I'll stop swearing. I know this is a Christian podcast. Hail Satan. But I walked on the blades of my feet, and then what we realized is that because my hamstrings were so tight, they actually have this table that you can use that kind of just bends you in half. So you strap your ankles to like the bottom, and then there's a part of it that hinges, right? So and then you just go each session. You should try to go a little bit farther and farther. He slaps
face up or face down.
Face down. He slaps you on the bottom. He's really got you by the tail. The whole time, and that helped a lot. It was because I've always just had really tight hamstrings, but that like affects like your hips, it affects your back. Because if you think about it, like if they're so tight that they're constantly pulling on all of the other muscles and joints, that's going to cause you a lot of
pulls
pain.
everything down.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. So there's things like that where like that makes sense to me. Or
we never like cracked my back or anything, you know.
The cupping thing makes sense at a surface level of like it gets the blood moving.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like if you went one step deeper than that, it's like, oh, it actually doesn't make any sense at all. But I don't know enough about science to know.
No. Well, first of all, science isn't real. You know that. I know that.
We can all agree.
We can all agree.
It's changing every day, so why pay attention in the first place?
I say God's plan. That's what I believe in. But I think it's all just it's compounding stuff. You know, it's kind of like acupuncture. It's like acupuncture isn't always just going to be like the cure for whatever the problem is. But if you do that and you do massage and you do yoga and you eat healthy, it's the combination of everything that I think just kind of helps.
Man,
right?
if I could do one of those, that'd be sick as hell.
We can go to yoga after this if you want. I need
just
to stretch
me out.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to have a fight before I was 30.
Oh, you want to fight somebody?
I want to fight a man before I was 30, but I turned 30 in 4 months.
We can do that too.
And I have not made any steps.
You
just want to go find a busker outside and smash his guitar, see what happens?
No, I'll fight you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'll let you win.
No, I want to know what kind of man I am. Yeah. I gotta figure it out for real.
One that's never gotten into a fight before. That's the kind of man you are. Why have you? So, did you ever wrestle or anything in high school?
I wrestled for 2 years in high school.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Bad. Yeah. I think my record was like 10-30.
Yeah.
I'd never wrestled before, and then it was like, well, all my friends are on the wrestling team. That seems fun. And then there's no one else in my weight class, so I was just automatically varsity. So
you just had a lot of forfeits?
Well, no. It was like I'd never wrestled in my life, and now, well, that's the number 3 guy in the state. He's just going to pin me in 14 seconds.
Yeah.
So I wish I had some forfeits. That's where my 10 wins, I think like 4 of them came from just forfeits.
Just showing up.
But 6 of them were I actually also beat a guy who just happened to be worse to me, which was humiliating for him.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good for him. You thought you felt bad.
Yeah.
No.
And then like my first year, I like blew my knee out. And then second year, I'm like, I'm back, baby. And then I blew my knee out again. I'm like, I don't think I'm built for combat.
Yeah. At a certain point, you just got to walk away. Walking's way more fun than playing a sport.
Also, my coaches would be like, dump him, Russell, dump him on his head. And from the mat, I'd be like, that seems mean.
Yeah.
They're like, this isn't your thing. I don't think
you're built for this, son.
No.
Oh. So have you ever had any fight training or anything other than that?
I think I took like some kickboxercise classes at Lifetime Fitness.
So the jazzercise was what you think was going to help get you through
a fight? It was me and a lot of like recently divorced 40 to 50-year-old women, and then just like some 19-year-old kid in the peak of his physical health, working a heavy bag. And the 2 like boxercise coaches were like, "Hey man, I don't think this is what you think it is. This isn't really for you.
I'm just imagining you in line with a bunch of women, like it's a layup line in basketball, but you're just like kicking a mannequin in the dick.
No, we were going hard sparring. I was kicking these ladies right in the trousers.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Just wailing on these broads.
We always think it's going to be way cooler than what it actually is. And your first fight was like a 45-year-old woman.
She just lost her son in a car crash.
Yeah,
I'm just taking it out on her.
Also take away her dignity.
So yeah, no, I think about it every night before I go to bed.
That you want to get into a fight? You think about it?
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, you're just not a very confrontational person.
No, never.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
No, I think it's better to have not been in a fist fight, but if it ever comes up, I need to be prepared.
It's overrated.
You've been in a couple scraps?
Yeah, a long time ago. I haven't been in a fight anytime in the past like decade, I want to say. But it's always the way I see it, there's really nothing anybody could say to me that would actually get me to want to fight you.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing a stranger in order to actually make me mad at you, you'd have to like know something about me.
You have to mean something to me.
Yeah.
To then say something mean.
Yeah, like if you said I never reached my full potential in Little League, yeah, we're gonna fight. You know, like, but you would have to know me really well.
Deep level to know.
Yeah, to know that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one time I got to do a JV wrestling tournament. I don't remember how it happened, but they let me do a JV thing, and I got to second place.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the final round, I kind of just gave up because I was tired.
Oh, yeah.
And my coach said, and I walked off, and my coach went like, "You gave up. I could see it in your eyes that you gave up. You quit on that." And that hurt me more than anything. Any fat, anyone calling me gay, it's just like being like, I saw quit in your eyes, hurt me deeply to this level. If someone was like, "You quit in that JV tournament," I'm like, "Oh, I have to hit you as hard as I can."
Yeah, or dump him on his head. Just channel everything that you remember from your wrestling days.
This is for you, coach.
Yeah.
I'll make you proud one of these days.
Yeah. Yeah, fighting's overrated. At this point, I would rather embarrass you verbally than try to embarrass you physically.
Sure. And
Yeah.
I see too many TikToks and Instagram reels and live leak videos of like two guys fighting, they're fist fighting on the concrete, and then guy from off screen who was not a part of the fight just key hauls over and sucker punches a guy. His head hits the asphalt. He'll never walk again. Yeah, that doesn't seem. That's not the romantic.
No, the first thing
battle that I was envisioning.
First thing about an actual fight to remember is that there's no such thing as a fair fight.
Yeah.
Like just if you are in a fight, just win whatever way.
There's no sense of honor. They're not knights in shining armor.
No, nobody's gonna remember that you fought honorably.
That's when I'm eating through a tube the rest of my life.
No, because ultimately you're just trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get out of that situation, right? So nobody's gonna care that you were like, well, he did have he had good morals, you know, followed the rules.
He was in good standing.
Yeah. First of all, I don't think there's rules, right? There's nobody that decrees what
fist
you
fight
can
is
and
allowed.
can't do that just shows up with a
There's
scroll.
not a commissioner there.
No, yeah.
There's like some states, I think Washington, it can't be Washington. There's like a handful of states that have mutual combat laws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I remember
you can still duel in some places.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you guys, if you both agree to fist fight, you can do that, but you have to call the police ahead of time and tell them that you're fist fighting, and you have to have a third party be able to like help come wave it off.
Yeah.
So I want to fight in those states. That's who I want to do.
Well, that's what
where I
you should
call
have
the
to do.
cops ahead of time and say, call an ER for me in about 15 minutes. I'm going to really need something.
Yeah, it's like, don't cash the check till Wednesday. I'm calling the ambulance now, but don't leave for like 20 minutes. It's not an emergency yet.
It will be.
There would be fewer fights if you needed a notary, you know, to sanction this. Like, shit, the office doesn't open until 8.
Well, can I schedule something with you at 7
I guess
o'clock?
we'll table this, yeah.
We'll
Want to get
fist
coffee
fight
first?
at 2 p.m. at the Coffee Exchange.
Yes.
Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I got into a fight. I think I've lost every fight that I was in, to be honest. Either that or it was just a wash. You know, nobody really won.
Mm.
The last one I even remember was in college, and I just had friends that liked to fight. That was just kind of their thing. So at like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, they'd just start walking around And every once in a while, I would just tail them to just make sure that they never got into too much
You
trouble.
DD'd them fist fighting people?
Yeah, I just walked 20 feet behind them, just kind of make sure nobody did anything too stupid. And they went into a pizza shop, and they just started talking smack to two guys that just didn't deserve it. There was they just wanted a slice of pizza. So while they're conversing and really trying to rile the guy up, my friend Steve gets a piece of pizza, and then they all go outside. And my friend John and this other guy, they're just jawing back and forth, and I could see the look in Steve's eye, which was very glazed over also, where I was like, I think Steve's going to throw a punch. And so almost to me comically, he just dropped the slice of pizza that he had. And
Waste of money.
Yes. He only ate like 3 bites of it and just dropped it on the sidewalk. And then goes to throw this like huge haymaker at the guy John's talking to. He misses completely. And then in the act of missing and going down, one of the other guy's friends decks Steve in the face.
Well,
right?
he's already on the way down.
Yeah, on the way down. Yeah. So, and then they start kicking Steve, and I'm like, God damn it.
Good.
So, yeah.
Steve sounds like he sucks. I'm glad Steve got hit.
So then everybody's just kind of pushing each other and fighting, and I throw one of the guys off of Steve, and I punch him in the face, and then somebody else, like the same thing that they did to Steve, somebody punched me from the side, right? And then all of a sudden the cops are there, so everybody just scatters, and I'm like, all right, is everybody happy? Everybody happy with what happened here?
You good? Is this what you wanted to happen?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what is it we wanted out of
Guys,
this?
we're not even getting clips out of this.
Mm-mm.
If you're going to throw a punch, tell me ahead of time.
Yeah,
I'll set up a camera.
Just a lame story. And a wasted pizza.
That's the thing. Fist fights are also never like, yeah, so I was at this bar and this guy was groping a woman. I said, hey, sir, you knock it off right now. And he said, it's always like, yeah, my drunk friend accidentally bumped into somebody and they hit each other as hard as they could.
Mm-hmm.
The story in my head is always like, I always had that fantasy that I'm sure, I don't know if everyone has this, but like, what
Two
if
dudes at the same time?
my wildest fantasy.
What race are they?
Speaking of fists.
Like in your heart of hearts, what race are they?
I think one mixed.
Slender Asian man.
I think one's a slender Asian man and one's a mixed but burly.
Yeah, ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Sammy Answer
good, yeah.
with muscles.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that you just insulted Sammy by, like, with muscles.
With muscles.
I mean, yeah, he's pretty skinny.
He's a string bean.
He goes to the gym.
He's got a lot of tendons.
All right, anyway, sorry I didn't mean to deter you or distract you from what you were saying.
Sorry, now my head's in a... I got to recalibrate. I got to get blood rushing back to my brain.
Yeah, I'm wearing soft shorts.
Soft shorts?
Yeah, I was going to say, it shows everything.
Okay. What was I saying?
Something about a fight.
School shooting.
Oh, what?
You
Like you're shooting up a school?
No.
Oh,
it
okay.
happens, but you're the one who, the guy comes into the class, you disarm him, you fight him off, and then all the girls in the class are like, you're my hero.
Uh-huh.
What if we all kissed your neck?
All the teenage girls are saying
Yeah, I'm
this?
also a teenager in this fantasy.
You did not
I'm not the teacher.
You didn't specify
I
that
think
at the
it's
beginning.
implied.
Well, it's not implied.
I think it's implied.
I'm thinking of adult.
There's a
Russell.
school shooting. It's in my daughter's class. It's showing. It's Daddy-Daughter Day.
And then they all kiss me after.
They all kiss me tenderly. Just a sweet peck on the cheek.
This
That's all.
fantasy's way worse than the one that I said. I was just messing around.
Mine's got all different kinds of genres involved.
We have a hero story, pedophilia.
Massacre,
Sure
gun
enough.
laws, the election's coming up.
But I think, yeah, that's true. I will say, I like to stand up for people. I have a pretty low tolerance for people being bullies. So I'll usually stand up for other people because I know a lot of folks that just aren't really great at standing up for themselves. So usually you can kind of, you can just not dismiss. What's the word I'm looking for? You can break stuff up pretty quick by just being a presence, you know, and just being like,
Hey,
oh, no,
let's
just
chill.
like, why don't you say that to me? Why are you saying it to him?
Well, I told you that guy when he kept sexually assaulting me in Brush, Colorado.
Yes.
Mike Hammock had to go like, "Hey, stop touching him," because I'm
Yeah.
like, I guess this guy's just gonna have his way with me.
Yeah.
There's nothing I'll do
Yeah,
about
I
it.
guess I don't really have a
'Cause
say in the matter.
I don't want to hurt his feelings.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, that's good of you.
some weird Christian guilt of like, I don't want to make him uncomfortable by saying, "Hey, get your fingers out of my mouth."
God,
I don't want to
that's
make
so
him
gross.
embarrassed.
I can't believe somebody stuck their fingers in your mouth.
Yeah, it was wild. It was and,
a
like
taste of these sausages.
and they were like, he's like a farmhand. So like I specifically remember, I'm like, these are
There's
rough. These are
dirt.
calloused.
Yeah, there's a little dirt on there.
these are brittle, braille,
Yeah.
hard, calloused
What
fingers.
is that, weed killer I'm tasting?
Is that a Braxo? There's no way this is good. They kept saying like, yeah, we got like so many kids. We have like 7 kids because we have it. So we got a ton of bedrooms. I'm like, why is that the?
Yeah, they didn't even specify that they're their kids. Right?
Yeah,
We've collected.
got 'em.
We've collected 7
I
children.
mean, how big's that town? Like 2,000. I'm sure there's a lot of like drug-related deaths, and they're just kind of
yeah,
the
Oh, yeah.
orphanage.
Yeah, just taking them in. Well, this
Yeah.
could potentially be part of your fantasy. You gotta save those kids.
I gotta go back there. I
Yeah.
gotta save these kids.
Yeah, I think you got a target already. Just,
I think I could drive back to Brush and be like, "What house is the swingers house?" And they go, "That one."
just kick in the door. Yeah,
That was
Sneak in the door,
fun.
check in.
Mark Norman, I got to explain to him the Pueblo swinger couple.
Oh yeah,
I got to talk him through that.
Yeah. I
Explain
mean,
that to him.
there's been plenty. If you do comedy long enough, you wind up running into lots of weird, kinky people. Then some people try to get you to go home with them, and I'm glad you got to talk to him about that. I know he's had that experience as well. So,
Well,
Pueblo,
because I mentioned, I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's in Sam Tallent's book," and he's like, "Yeah, I narrated that book," and I was like,
Oh, right,
"Barely."
right.
So that was a fun little thing.
Mhm. Yeah. So wait a minute. When you said it was in Sam Tallent's book, like that show?
Oh, so Sam Tallent's book, there's a whole part where he's talking. The main character
Goes home with the couple.
goes home with a couple in
Yeah.
Pueblo, and like just so he can save $100 instead
Yeah.
of buying a hotel room, he could
Yeah.
just.
And you were there?
What?
You were there?
I was there.
I'm asking. Like you were at that show?
Oh, I've done that show before. I was
Oh.
not at that Sam
So you
Talent
met
one.
this couple?
I've met this couple in the past.
Oh, whoa. Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
I've met
that.
them, and when I was reading Sam Tallent's book, I'm like, oh, that's those people down in Pueblo.
That's interesting.
And everyone told me, yeah, this couple's going to try to sleep with you, and then they did not, and it hurt my feelings.
Yeah, that's a letdown.
They didn't even try.
It's like that hack joke that people tell when like I never got molested by a priest. I guess that means I was an ugly kid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, all right, we get it.
The
Shouldn't hurt
first
your
joke
feelings that
everyone
much.
writes.
Everybody's just got a type, you know. If you're not their type, that's fine.
That was I helped Tracy watch tape for like the Colorado Springs Comedy Festival,
Uh-huh.
and man, oh man, I think 80 people submitted tapes, and 55 of them have a Catholic priest joke in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's pretty done. You don't have to
Easy.
do it
Yeah,
anymore.
People have done it before.
We get it.
I think I've done it. You've done it.
We've all
now
been
it's
there.
over. Yeah.
We don't need to do it
I
anymore
don't write that one on the set list a lot these days. You know?
unless you're really
constantly.
digging for something.
Yeah, it's like, whoo, I really got to get to 54 minutes.
All right, what do we got in the back pocket
Yeah,
there?
what's in the whole coin purse that I haven't pulled out?
Sort
It's like
through.
a Catholic joke and a sack of Jawea. Nice.
That's a Canadian loony. What
But
is
yeah,
the-
so yesterday was the first time you got to meet Mark, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good dude. That was a fun show.
he was cool. Very secret show with Mark Norman last night. We did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in green rooms before with like the headliner where I'm like, hey, I'm Russell, nice to meet you, and the energy is very obviously like get out.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go stand by the bar. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
So I didn't even want to walk into the green because I knew he was in there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to walk in and like bother him if he was in the middle of something.
Well, you're a socially awkward person, and Mark is also a socially awkward
yeah,
person.
there was
so
gonna
the
be
two powers.
the streams
combining.
crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't have that. So I was just
A lot
waiting
of
for
dead
someone. I was just waiting for one of the Coreys to show up, and Korey Deck got there first.
Yeah.
So then we walked in at the same time, and he was lovely. He was
Yeah,
super nice. We
he's
had
a
lots
chill
of
guy.
conversation.
He's,
Um,
he's down to hang. He likes. He loves just kind of like hanging out with other comics and shooting the shit. And like he usually he tries to set up like a secret show at most of the places that he
Yeah,
goes.
that's interesting.
Yeah, just to do new material. You
Mhm.
know, he's just also a junkie when it comes to doing comedy.
Hitting the
right?
road.
Well, it's also very different things. I mean, I think we talked about it last night a little bit. I don't know if you were in the room or not. But yeah, doing the theater and arena is a very different thing than doing a smaller club show.
Yeah.
Right? So I think he just enjoys having both of those experiences because one's obviously paying the bills, and then the comic side of him still wants to have
The
shows.
intimate little like punk rock
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
For sure. That was actually, you mentioned people saying things that hurt your feelings. or strangers wouldn't be able to hurt your feelings. I'm just double checking that the camera's still on. Huh? I always check because you never know.
Probably a good call.
Where's the screen?
I don't know. On
We'll
the back.
cut all this. We'll cut all this.
On the back, probably.
That's something to think about. Whoop, whoop. Oh, okay. See, this is why we double check.
No battery power remains.
Double check. Anyways, like I was saying, like if the only way you can really hurt my feelings by saying something nasty to me is if I know you and you say something deep and hurtful to me.
Yeah.
So someone booed me last night because I said I'm a Jew,
Yeah.
and someone booed me.
That's funny. You got booed for being Jewish.
And in the green room, Mark was like, that would make me so mad. That would like really piss me off. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. I live in New York City. A lot of my friends are Jewish. A lot of comics are Jewish. And being a Jew, you have all the victimhood with none of the perks.
Yeah,
and it sucks.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that really would upset me if I was like, if I said like I'm black and someone booed me.
Yeah.
That would really hurt my feelings. I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Yeah, so
like-
now did you feel like you should have been mad?
That's what he was like, you're really handling this well. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know I was handling anything. I didn't
Yeah.
really think
I'm
about
just
it.
like, it's just some idiot at a bar. Who
Yeah.
cares?
But he was like, you should be more upset
You
about
should be mad.
the way you've been treated. I'm like,
kinda
oh,
funny.
I've never.
Well, you were having a great set, so I don't think it really. I mean, ultimately, that's the thing that's most important, right? It's like,
Yeah.
And also, you're not going to fight whoever did that to you. So
No, never. That was
we've established that so far.
in the green room before I was going up. Mark kept going, you got to be dirty. Make sure you're dirty.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell they don't be clean up there. I'm like, dude, you have no idea who you're talking to. So I was like, kind of right before I walked out, I'm like, I have to rearrange my set a little bit and try to make it a little darker than I was planning on.
Right.
And so I said the Jew thing. Someone booed me, and I said, because I said I'm a Jew. He booed me. Everyone laughed. And I said something along the lines of, hey, man, we kill innocent people all the time. You don't think I'm not going to come over there or something? But like I have the little tape on my phone, and I thought of that and then went, I don't want to say that. That's a nasty thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also thought of Mark going, you need to be dirty.
Yeah.
And then I said it, and then the crowd exploded.
Yeah,
Like,
so they loved
oh,
it.
okay, just threaten to kill a man.
Yeah.
That's the move.
Yeah, that's what they want.
That's what they
Yeah,
want.
be confrontational. Like be not aggressive. Like not aggressive. What's the word? But yeah, say I'm always an advocate of say the thing you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, it like took me a second to go, this is all I can come up
This is
with.
what I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's good though. That's
Mark
a good retort.
told me to do it.
Yeah, it was because that wasn't a written part of the joke.
No.
Right? Yeah, that's a great
People
retort.
don't normally boo me.
That's a great retort. Somebody booing you. It's like I'll kill you.
Me and my whole race of people will
Yeah.
kill you. That's all I could think of.
I will drone strike you from the stage. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for letting me do that. That was a cool show.
Oh yeah, man, you did great. Everybody did a good job. I'm just glad it all kind of came together, and doing it over at Vultures was kind of just super easy. Joe just hooked it up, and I just knew they could handle like the ticket sales and running the door,
Yeah.
and some marketing stuff, and they'd have the room organized. And because I was at Looney's, and they had the 9:45 show. So as soon as I was done with my set, I just jetted over there, and I only made it with like 20 minutes to spare. You know? So I just didn't want to have to be getting there kind of late and then have to worry about if everything was taken care of.
Yeah, now you have to get the door person or tickets out or whatever. It's like it's just going to be taken care of. They're already
You got light, sound, seating. You know, it's like it's already done.
It was last night at the bar. You and me were talking, and then I think Joe came over, and it was after the show was already done. And he started explaining to you, he's like, yeah, it's really great because like we have the seats set up already, and we already played a show, so
Yeah.
it's like people were here already. And I was like, yeah, we did it already.
Uh-huh.
You don't need to now sell us on the venue and like the setup.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
yeah,
just talking.
we did the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He's just in awe. He's just like, yeah, I think this was a good idea. I'm like, yeah, we know. Yeah, we think it
We
was,
did it,
also think
brother.
we also think it was a good idea. Everything went pretty flawlessly. I was kind of curious as to how the whole thing was going to go, just because it was I knew it was going to be fun, but crowd-wise, you know, especially when I got up there initially, just to kind of corral everyone, you know, just kind of getting everybody to settle down and kind of transfer the energy of the room to be from going from like, hey, this is typically like a rock bar. To
Literally, there was a punk rock show in there 60 minutes beforehand.
Right. We need you all to shut up, pay attention.
This is an active listening session.
Don't be rude, okay? And then they did that poorly, you know? They booed you for being Jewish. But I guess I definitely got the sense as well that they were kind of like a Kill Tony kind of crowd, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing that wins the day is the like dirty or mean thing to say. You know, so it seems like everybody kind of picked up on that throughout the night and adjusted and did well, like accordingly or whatever. But yeah, it just neat to be able to put something like that together because I feel like and I've known Mark for like 6 years now.
How'd you guys meet?
So that was actually my first club weekend ever at the Albany Funny Bone.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, and this was way before he was he was already established, you know, but nowhere near as big as he is now.
Sure.
We just always kind of stayed in touch. I've opened for him a couple times, and Andrew, the other guy that was there last night, Andrew Youngblood, he and I have just been friends for a couple years now too. And I see Andrew way more than I see Mark, but yeah. So the fact that they tour together, because Andrew usually opens for him, and just because we're buddies, it was just kind of easy to set up. And for a lot of people, like for me, I'm not trying to come across as like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just like I don't look at Mark that way just because I've known him for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
But for a lot of other people, they're like, oh, this is a really cool experience. This is like a really big comic that's selling out theaters and small arenas and stuff. And to be able to do like, it's like a rock, it's like a band that you followed for a long time.
Sure.
And then they got really big and then they wanted to do just like a small little club set someplace. Like, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Well, I think like someone told me recently, you know, I do the Pikes Punks route. Whatever. Apparently, like some of the newer guys are upset if I don't book that I haven't booked them, but they will like because I don't go out a ton, so I only pop up every once in a while.
Yeah.
And if they're there, they feel like they have to try and impress me.
Oh, okay.
Because I book the show in Colorado Springs,
Sure.
but I'm like, what are you talking about? You're trying to impress me? I also suck and am bad at this. But it's just like, oh, they haven't been around since I've started. They're brand new, and they only know me as the guy who books this room, as opposed to they haven't seen me bomb 100 times in front of, you know, in shitty bar shows and stuff like. So it's just like, I'm sure the same thing with Mark Norman of like, well, you've just known him a long time, and now that he's gotten bigger, it's like, well, you were in that circle before that happened, so you're past the shock wave of it all. But me meeting him for the first time, like, whoa, this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a
like,
big deal.
No, we go hiking all the time. Like, this means nothing.
Yeah. No, I just mean, like, yeah, what about two powerhouses coming together? The guy that runs Pikes Punks
I'm just saying.
and Mark Norman. Wow.
I'm just saying.
The energy in that room.
The people have perspective
The
that you don't necessarily.
The autistic energy in that room coming together.
What I'm saying is you should have more respect for me, is what I'm trying to get at. And I feel like you're not picking up on that. That you should actually be looking up to me, Korey.
Don't worry. I'll try to impress you next time.
I think the first I don't know, was the first time we met, but we did a weekend at Looney's together for The Magician.
Yes. And I remember you showed me, because you saw he was like doing other people's tricks.
Every trick he did, I would Google it on my phone and show it to you. I found every single one of them.
I liked that you were so mad about it.
I hated him.
You actually, I mean, and obviously we know each other a little better now, but it definitely tracks that you're the guy that would be upset about a magic show.
Just infuriated. And not even that he's doing magic. I'm like, I don't like that he's stealing from these other artisans of magic.
Yeah.
He's not taking it seriously.
Yeah. Well, we have to self-police ourselves, don't we? Nobody else is going to do it.
He told me at one point we were sitting at the bar, he's like, yeah, that's the thing I like about comedy. Is like magicians get all up in arms of like, that's my trick. That's my trick. Like comics don't care. Comics don't care. I'm like, no, I think we actually really care if you steal stuff. It's like a big thing.
Well, I
really don't like that.
I think, isn't it a way more common practice in magic to do other people's tricks? Like, people sell tricks.
Yeah. People
know what I
sell
mean?
jokes, though.
Right, but then you wouldn't keep doing the joke.
That's true.
If you sold the joke, you wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
But lots of people do the same tricks because you bought them from the guy that made it.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. So that actually doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that, yeah, comics are the ones that would actually get mad if you did take and did their jokes.
I remember that weekend, one specific moment because you were up on stage talking about something, and then he was in the back going like, ugh. Like, he was having an attitude about one of your, like, dirtier jokes, and then he goes up there and has a whole joke. He, like, makes, like, I'm going to make your penis disappear. Or so. Oh, he turns, like, he turns, like, a feather into a dildo or something like that. I'm like, you're having an attitude about his jokes?
Yeah.
It was wild.
Like a comic that's a couple years in, just, like, doing a dirty joke. And then this is, like,
he's like,
what you're doing is so highbrow.
How dare you? Anyways.
I had a weird conversation with a comic a couple weekends ago. We were like working together, and he had this joke about eating his own cum.
Very cool.
Yeah, very super highbrow, right? It's like, wow, what a revolutionary. And then he did this other joke later about having to smell his dog's butt or something, like because his dog had like an internal problem. The doctor told him to smell his butt. And I was like, what if, because the first joke was like, I've been eating more cum to make my pineapple taste better.
Okay.
It's like, okay. So I was like, what if you said the dog's butt smelled like pineapple? And he just goes, that's so weird. I was like, what? Like, wait a minute. So let's backtrack a second.
Who's deciding?
He's like, let's backtrack a second. You do a joke about eating your own cum and smelling your dog's asshole.
Corey, let's not be crass, okay?
I just came up with an idea.
All right, let's take it down a notch.
Like, I'm the weird one in
Corey,
this situation?
you're trying to push the boundaries of comedy, and I don't like that about you.
I was like, all right, whatever, man.
That's so funny. Let's chill, all right?
Yeah.
Why don't you back off? That was a big burp. Topo Chico?
Volume wasn't very high, but yeah.
No, it was
feel it was
voluminous. Yeah, it moved your hair a little bit. Last night, this isn't related, but that reminded me. Last night, I was talking to, do you know Cesare?
Yeah.
We were talking about something. I don't know how the topic got onto it, and she was like, which president do you think the most amount of people died under? What do you think?
It would probably be World War II, right?
Probably be World War II is what I said.
Is that FDR?
I mean, it's like FDR. It's LBJ. It's a couple. I mean, there's
it's Truman's the one that dropped the bomb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple people, but so we were talking about it, and I was like, do you mean in all of the world or in America? She's like, I think in the whole world. Which president? I was like, World War II. She said, what about slavery? And I went, I don't think so.
I think that lasted a long time.
It lasted a long time, and she's like,
that's a lot of different presidents.
and she was like, well, slavery lasted like, what, 70 years?
What?
I was like, okay, well, I hate to tell you, but I think it's more.
I think it's more.
I think it was more than a man. One guy's lifetime, I think, is longer. And then she was like, I don't know, what, like 100 million slaves or something like that? I'm like, oh.
That died in 70 years?
I don't think it's just way off.
I think it's funny that she posed the question as a black woman and then,
to get it wrong,
then used slavery as the example and then got that wrong. Like,
and then I had to be like, no, slavery's not. Which is like, no, I'm not saying it's not bad, but I think World War II, probably more people.
More
she's
deaths,
like,
yeah.
she's like, that can't possibly be true. I'm like, I promise you. I promise you that's true.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple things going on here. So slavery was at least 200 years
of
American history. And I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think every one of them died a tragic death. Yeah, I mean, I think their life was tragic for
a lot
sure.
of them got out.
A lot of them were alive.
I looked it up, and there was 12.5 million slaves ever.
Yeah.
And
in
I was
the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, there was like 6 million Jews that died.
Mm-hmm.
That's not including, like, Russians had like
See,
30
that's the
million
thing,
people
yeah.
died.
Yeah, but he wasn't, like, American president wasn't responsible for that.
Sure. Well,
right?
that was a weird question, too. I'm like, are you talking about Americans or just worldwide?
This is a dumb question. And
it's a dumb question, but
yeah.
I wanted to expose her dumb answer.
It was pretty bad.
And how I had to explain, I'm like, I don't think slavery's as bad as you think it is, which is a bad sentence for me to say.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it too loud since we're in public right now.
But let me break down the stats for you.
Yeah, good thing we're in the Springs. You don't have to look over your shoulder that much.
That was one thing when Mark was like, "Are you feeling okay?" I was booing you about the Jew thing. I'm like, "Hey, we're in Colorado Springs. I think most of these people are probably pro-Israel, so I think I'm good actually.
Yeah.
I think that guy should be worried more than anything."
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Andrew got booed during his set last night too. I forget.
Did he?
I forget what for, but I don't think it was
Race related.
Yeah, I think it was just him.
It's just his personality, who he chooses to be.
I think it was just his. Yeah, I think it was just something to do with him or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that was like we said before. They just got the sense they were kind of like a little more of like a rowdy punk.
They were
crowd,
rowdy.
Whatever. They're going to do stuff like that. But I think top to bottom, the whole thing went really well.
For sure. I think they didn't care about the local people because why would you?
Mm-hmm.
You're here to see Mark Normand, and then there's 4 local
I
spots
went up
up
first.
front.
I noticed. Yeah, I know.
I think they're
It's like I had a couple jokes in there, and I was like, "Wow, nothing, huh? It's gonna give me nothing."
Mark was in the green room just going, brutal. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, that's obviously a rowdy crowd, but a lot of people just see a special and they go, yeah, you buy tickets to see Mark Normand, and then you get there, and then he's the only one. And then he just performs for the whole time. They don't realize there's 1 or 2 or 5 people ahead of him.
Well, I wanted to keep it as slim of a show as possible because that wasn't the intent, right?
Yeah.
To have like a big showcase, and Mark Normand's at the end. It's like, no, he asked if we could do this, so I wanted to make sure that he did as much time as he wanted to do,
Yeah.
and then you're still curating the show so that it's not more than like an hour and a half,
Uh-huh.
you know. So, but because it's a cool opportunity for people, you know, I think it's important for a couple local people to get on the show because that's a big deal for some people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just a balance, right? Because I know that situations like that sometimes can get super out of hand, and then all of a sudden there's just like 10 comics.
Yeah, because they all just want the credit to say.
And everybody's blowing the light, you know.
Yes.
So now all of a sudden we're an hour and 40 into this thing before the headliner even
That
goes
was
on.
someone told me before I went up. I'm like, they're like, how much time you do? I'm like 5 minutes. I'm like, just do as much. Like, they're not gonna cut your mic. Just do time. Try to impress Mark Normand. I'm like, hey, you know what's not impressing the headliner is going way over your time
Yeah.
to try to get your shit in so that he can't do as much time as he wants.
Yeah,
It's not.
so that he can pluck you out of Colorado Springs and take you on a world tour.
This is my big moment.
Yeah.
If I take this 5 minutes and I make it 7 minutes, those extra 2 minutes are going to be the difference between a life of luxury
Yeah.
and this old coal mining town of ours.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just like take certain opportunities for what they are, and it's like, hey, this is neat. I'm glad we got to do it.
Yeah.
And then just that's it. You know, you can move on from there. Nothing. I think one of the biggest mistakes to make is thinking that one thing is just going to change everything. you
Yeah.
know? And it's just like that's just not what this is. It's usually a lot of different incremental steps. Some go backwards even, just to try to hopefully get to where you want to go. Right?
Yeah.
But there's usually not like this one eureka kind of tonight's the night.
This
that
is
all of
it
a
for
sudden
me.
Everything's going to change. Yeah.
When I first started, and I would get offered one show every 2 months, I was like, I have to impress everyone. Because
Well, you should try to do
of
a
course.
good job. Yeah.
But I was like, I can never cancel a show. Like if my wife's like, hey, I'm feeling sick, can you not go out tonight? I'm like, no, if I cancel, I may never do stand-up comedy again.
Right.
This may be it. And now at least it happens enough to where it's like, yeah, this isn't, not every single show is the make it or break it moment.
Yeah, most things aren't really that important.
No.
It's really just, it's what you want to get
These
out of it.
35 people are not going to remember who I am
No.
even after they leave this area.
Yeah. No, and it's one of those things like, hey, more stage time's better, working out different material, doing longer sets, whatever. But I think when you're first getting started, you kind of just have to take everything you can, right? And then after you've been however long, if you feel like you're established enough or whatever, you can start being a little bit more picky and choosy about what you actually want to do.
How many marionettes have you opened up for?
Marionettes?
Yeah, or ventriloquists?
0.
Really?
Yeah, why? How many times have you done that?
Twice.
Why? Where did this happen?
One was the swinger couple. It's also a ventriloquist.
Oh, perfect. So it's
a triple
always,
threat.
So it's always a 3-way with them.
It's a triple threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the puppet sits in the corner and watches.
Yeah, that's actually, they don't fuck anybody. They just make replicas of everybody that stays at their house.
They trap your soul in its eyes, and you
Yes.
can never leave.
Yeah. Like, what's that horror movie with the Isabel? Is that the going the doll? Yeah. Russell's soul is just in Pueblo in a tiny wooden figure.
Oh no, I've been body swapped.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably be not that bad, all things considered. You're
Yeah.
getting laid constantly.
You'd always have wood. Hey, I'm here to.
Oh my God!
I get paid for this
What a
sometimes.
consummate professional.
Not today, but I do get paid for this occasionally.
You're featuring tonight. That'll count.
Yeah, no, it's not.
You'll
It'll be
get
fun.
paid.
Last night was fun. Like
You just get paid to be in Colorado Springs, specifically. It's not for loonies.
Yeah, I know.
It's just being in town.
the general pool of money that I can accumulate in one way, shape, or form. Early show last night was okay. Like it was a bigger crowd, but they were just like fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. Late show was really fun. Just got to do more crowd work stuff, and then tonight should be. Hopefully the tickets sell well tonight, and we just have a good time. It's like, because it's a good crew too. It's like me, Cam, Jocelyn. I love hanging out with Eric and the whole Loonies team. So
How's Cameron's haircut?
I mean, I think he should get a different barber.
I think he's his barber.
He's his barber.
I think he's his barber.
He should fire himself. That thing is a helmet, dude. He was wearing a hat. Like,
He looks
all
like a
last
serf.
night. And I saw him this morning because I slept over at his house, and I almost went like, ugh. Like,
He's an artistic young man, and by that I mean I think he's older than me. And he told me once, he's like, I think he said dyed his hair. I think he meant dyed his hair, but he's like, yeah, if I ever do something with my hair, it kind of means like I'm going through an episode of some kind. I'm like, oh, you're like manic
Yeah.
if I ever see you. And he's like, yeah, kind of a little bit. And then I saw him give himself like a Friar Tuck haircut. And I'm like, oh, who broke your heart?
I mean,
made
yeah.
you do this to yourself?
I was 16 and listened to My Chemical Romance also. It's like we all had that.
Cameron's
He's-
probably older than you. That's the gross thing.
I don't know if he is. I'm 35.
He's 32.
Yeah, so we're about the same. What was I going to say?
That's not as funny.
I haven't done as much hair stuff in the past couple of years. I feel like I found my hairstyle.
You got a good coif.
4 or 5 years ago, and I've kind of just kept it. But I had dreadlocks at one point. I had.
Whoa,
my
that
hair
sucks.
Yes, I know, so stupid.
That sucks for you as a person.
It was pretty cool, man. What was I gonna say? Yeah, not puka shells, hemp necklaces, big thick bottle glasses, gauges, lip ring, like the whole thing.
Whoa. Are these pictures available online?
Yeah, I can show you. I can send it to you if you want to post it with this. But I had my hair like dyed like red at one point, like cherry red.
Whoa,
I
you
used
went
to
full Gerard way.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, I was like, I skated and I played in bands, and that was just like the style, Like, it was just the thing to do. It was Tony Hawk Pro Skater was real big, right?
You wanted to be a custom character?
Yeah, listened to a lot of. All the same stuff that we all did, like Blink-182, Sum 41, got really into like pop punk and like all that stuff, right? So that was just kind of like the thing.
Are you still listening to pop punk? Or did you let it die?
Oh, I do. No. I still
Okay.
listen to it a lot. Actually, a bunch of us are going to Newfound Glories doing a 20-year Catalyst reunion tour.
Whoa.
At Mission Ballroom next month. So a bunch of comics and I are gonna go check that out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, why not? It's fun.
My brother was in a pop punk band, and he's like, man, I missed this train by about 15 years.
Yeah. Well, is Joe's band kind of pop punky?
I don't know.
Because I know he helps with some other bands.
Yeah.
The names are escaping me, but I've seen some of their stuff and like listened to their music, and I'm like, oh, this is like totally up my alley.
Yeah.
Like this is totally my speed.
He was in a band with John Bueno
Yeah.
before, and they were a like pop punk band to where when I started doing stand up and I mentioned some names offhandedly to my brother, and he's like, John Bueno, Joe Bruno, why do those names sound familiar? And then he's just like, oh, those are the guys from whatever the name of their band was. He's like, I didn't know they did stand up.
Oh, cool.
So it was like a weird crossover that we both knew the same two guys.
But from a different capacity.
From different capacities.
Yeah.
I've at the pop punk or the punk shows and stuff, my brother would always they would have their merch table, but he would also sell earplugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like $1, you get a
Smart.
set of earplugs. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I think that's smart. Last night at the show, the Mark Norman show at Vulture's Jason Alexander and his friend had earplugs in.
Really?
I'm like, for stand-up?
Yeah.
You're going to wear earplugs?
Yeah, like, well, I just don't want to, I'm trying to be responsible for 20 years from now. It's going to be a big problem.
I think it's the safe, correct, smart move, but
It's
it
really
was
funny.
the lamest thing I've ever seen. It was like,
lame.
there's not even like a drum, like cymbals crashing. It's just a man talking.
Yeah, did he go to the show before that? Maybe?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
because
or
he kind of pulled up the same time I did.
I could see him being like so silly that like he just forgot they were in. He's had them in for like 3 hours, and then all of a sudden one
thought he had
falls out,
hearing
and
loss.
He's just like, oh my gosh.
He asked me, he's like, how do you put these in? I'm like, what do you mean? You
I could see
put
that.
them in your ear.
Yeah.
I asked him last night to hold my phone to like record me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard Jason's laugh before.
A little bit.
Have you heard a donkey bray? That's Jason. And so my phone, you can't hear me talk because Jason's just scream laughing the entire time. So like, I appreciate the support, but I can't use any of this.
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, that's got to make you feel good.
That Jason laughs at me?
Well, I mean, the fact that nobody could hear you speak because everybody was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
It's got to feel kind of good.
You know what? That's a better
Were we
perspective.
going to chop the footage up, make your next big reel?
I was going to post me threatening to kill a man, and that was going to be my big reel. That's going to send me to the top of the charts.
And it didn't get it? You didn't get
and
that?
now I can't use it.
Can't use it at all?
No, I can't. I'm being facetious.
All right.
Also, I don't know if I really want to post that one specifically.
I mean, might work. It's funny. You never really know what's going to pop off and what isn't. We've got a reel that's doing really well right now it's Elliot Woolsey giving DUI advice at one of our shows.
I love Woolsey.
Because somebody just asked him, it was a story about a DUI, and somebody asked him, like, oh, so what did your lawyer tell you? Like, what were his tips, And he I think just saying what his friend told him.
It's fully just, it's like not that funny. It's just advice.
No, yeah, and then I say something at the end to try to like give some comic relief to it. But like there's like 200 comments about people being like, yeah, fuck cops. And then there's other people be like, this is terrible advice. And I have to keep commenting, this is not a legal advice show.
So I should stop messaging you, updating the legal advice because you've had enough.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I just keep commenting just so that way
Get that engagement up.
Yeah, just get the engagement up. But it's just kind of, I just think it's so comical that the whole thing is just littered with differing opinions about what you should and shouldn't do. And then there's all these people who are like, how about just don't drink and drive? I'm just like, yeah, whatever, loser. Like, I get it.
What are we, nerds?
Yeah,
no way.
It's not even that. It's just like this whole thing is, why are you deciding which crimes are committed by losers and which ones are committed by heroes?
Cool
yeah, like yeah, all crimes are stupid. That's what the whole show is. Like this is all about something
doing crime.
We did something stupid. Hopefully you learned from it, and we can have a laugh about it. It's not that's the whole thing. People are like the whole abstinence education route. I'm like, this doesn't work. You're like, you just don't do it. It's like, great, cool story. So we're just gonna have
what
a
if
show.
it happens? It won't happen.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Even I, from a very young age, being in a private Christian school, when they're like, just don't do it. And I'm like, okay, but what happens if you do it?
Yeah.
I'm not planning on doing it.
Yeah, but stuff happens.
But just like, what happens if it happens? And they're like, well, it just won't happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like 13 going, that doesn't seem helpful, though. Like, what if it does happen, though? You got to give something.
Yeah.
Like,
conflict resolution skills are low. Yeah.
What's the stuff Narcan? Like, just, if it happens, use Narcan. Okay,
Right.
just so to save a life. Just let me know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I think somebody that's ODing would appreciate a Narcan over a prayer circle.
Something.
Like,
just a little bit of objectivity.
Yeah, I'm not saying that your thoughts and prayers aren't doing wonders, but it's, I think there's also practical things.
There's
that
also
we can
medicine
do.
and
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
That's my, Christian Scientists?
Vaguely.
There's a Christian Science bookstore here, and Christian Science is just like you don't go to the hospital, you don't go to the doctor, because God will perform a miracle.
Got it.
And fix it. And they have books on it. And I'm like, how thick can these books possibly be? Wow, like, just pray about it. Is the whole book?
It's hard to cure ADD with snakes, especially when there's two of them. You're like, which one do I look at?
That's very good. I just like, I feel like the miracle is medicine.
Yeah.
We made medicine. That was the miracle.
Well, I've thought of
we
this,
did it.
You know, I've had this conversation with somebody else before. It's a few years ago. A friend of mine that's like a youth pastor. And I was just trying to think about what if science is really just God performing whatever things that he wants to do, right? But it doesn't just happen like with the flick of a finger, you know what I mean? It's like, no, it's these things are happening because it's working very slow. I don't know if I'm articulating this
Sure.
right, but it's whatever scientific phenomena you want to point to. Be like, well, that doesn't mean that it couldn't be God. It's just that I think when people think of an act of God, it's always this like swift.
You had cancer, now you don't have cancer all of a sudden.
Right. And instead of being like a slow mechanism that is powered by
Yeah.
an entity, right? But it just doesn't. He doesn't just show up, you know, one day and
Yeah.
all of a sudden like floods. You know, it's like no, it's. Yeah, so I think he was like, "No, I don't believe that." I was like, "All right, well then I thought it was at least a thought-provoking conversation." Yeah.
I had in Christian middle school, I said something to a teacher once of like, is there like, is Satan like, is there like God and evil, or is there God and just the absence of God? But it's not necessarily evil, just as a thought. And he went, no, and we're not going to talk about it anymore. And then we had like parent-teacher meetings, and he brought it up to my parents. He's like, Russell doesn't believe in evil. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying.
That's not what I said.
But yeah, we could do it as a fun thought experiment. We could talk it through.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there is something to like God, like Jesus would spit in a guy's eye and now he doesn't have AIDS or whatever anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like, but now we have medicine, so that doesn't have to happen
Right.
as much anymore. We don't have to like you touch you in your, not that it can happen, but it's like you don't need that as much because there's just a pill you can take for $9.
Uh-huh.
So you don't need that to happen anymore. You just need $9, and maybe that's the miracle. You find $10 in your pocket to go buy
that
a prescription.
God willed somebody to think of how to do this and create it for somebody else. Yeah.
God gave you a job that had insurance so that you could go get a prescription. That was the miracle you needed.
Listen, I got a great job recently that God gave me. Yeah, great, nailed the interview.
That's the miracle. Is I didn't blow this interview, regardless of how many interactions I have where I just. Every time I meet a Mark Norman type, I eat my own butt trying to have any kind of conversation with them.
Uh-huh.
It sucks so bad.
Really?
Yeah, I blow it I feel like I'm not that hard to talk to.
Sure.
But anytime I have to introduce and say hello for the first time, my brain short circuits and I just forget how to talk.
Right.
At all.
Yeah. So
I
you
blow
sort of
it.
Stumble over your words.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
say too much.
Say too much or not enough, or just like. There was one time I was, like, it was Sam Talent had a show, and Pat Richardson was on the show, and he was in front of me walking to the bathroom, and so I, like patted him on the back like that, like a little rat-a-tat,
Yeah.
and then he turned around, and I went, hey, Pat, and he went, hi, and then just went to the bathroom, so I'm like, all right, so now the whole show I'm just in my head about why did I just say hi to him or like tap him? Why did I give him a little rat-a-tat? So the whole show I'm thinking about it, and then I'm waiting in the hallway for Pat so that I could be like, hey man, that was weird. I feel like I need to address that, which is already
just waiting for him.
So I'm just waiting after the show, and then Sam's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm waiting for Patrick." He's like, "Okay, so you're just standing in the hallway?" And I went. Oh, so I started walking to where he was, and he went, don't come over here. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then he was outside on the stairwell. It was him, David Borey, and someone else, and I can't remember, but they were just smoking cigarettes, and then I was just standing there awkwardly. And I know Sam a little bit,
Yeah.
and I don't know the other two. So I'm just standing there, and I kept saying out loud, I kept going, I feel like I'm making this worse. I feel like I should go.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So I would and they would talk, and I would try to pipe in, and I went, I feel like I should go. I feel like I should
You
get out
said
of here.
that out loud?
I'm like, I feel like I'm making this worse by being here. And they're like, if you keep saying it, yes.
Yeah,
You're
of
making it
course.
so much. And I couldn't stop myself in my head.
Man,
And the
you
whole
really do short circuit, huh?
I'm just waiting. And I just wanted to see Patrick. And then afterwards, I'm doing this for like 45 minutes.
Mhm.
And I can't stop myself because I keep thinking if I back out, if I pull the parachute and leave, that's actually more awkward than just toughing it through and giving up. No way. Just keep standing here. And then I finally found Patrick, and I went, hey, man, sorry about the weird little thing. He went, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, when I slapped you on the back, you went, oh, I didn't even think about that twice.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, say less.
Yes, I can't stop.
Kind of like right now.
Yeah. Just keep flowing it.
Just kidding. Yeah, I think with those situations, especially with somebody that might be, I don't know, famous or celebrity-ish type person, I always less is more kind of thing. I just say, hey, man, what's up? Nice to meet you. And then, especially with like weekend stuff, if you're working with somebody for the weekend, I always find that if they want to talk to you, they will eventually. You know, so like if you just hang out in the green room, just I don't know, be on your phone, write stuff in your notebook, kind of just make pleasantries, and then over the course of a day or that night or whatever, they wind up being like more chatty. Just kinda, like let them be the ones that kind of start the conversation. You know,
I see so many comics in the green room going like, hey, you know, if you're not doing anything while you're in town, you want to go on a bike ride with me tomorrow, or you want to like grab a cup of coffee? And they go, oh, yeah, that sounds great. I have nothing going on. I don't know you, but I have nothing better to do. I'll grab a cup of coffee with you. And I go, man, I should have said something. And then I'll go
can I go get a cup of coffee with you?
I've done it to headliners. I'm like, hey, man, you know, if you got nothing going on, you want to grab like a cup of coffee tomorrow? And they go, huh? Tomorrow, if you got nothing going on, I got plans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's like, fuck. Every time I try to do it, I'm like, I should have said anything. It was so stupid.
Yeah, I guess. You're like, what is it about me?
The swinger couple doesn't want me. The headliner doesn't want me. No one wants me.
Yeah, well, I didn't have anything else to do today.
You really didn't.
No.
And that was nice for me.
Yeah.
It was either this or hanging out in Cameron's basement.
Yeah, for the most part. No, it's been fun, man. I always enjoy spending time with you and hanging out. It's like one of the nice things about traveling and going to do comedy in other places is just getting to hang out with my friends I don't see very much.
Yeah, podcasting is an excuse for me to go hang out with friends, but I can tell my wife, like, no, this is for the business. It's like, I just kind of want to hang out with somebody, get coffee, and it's not weird.
Yeah, well, considering you bought me coffee also, this podcast is net negative $12.
Brother, this podcast is a lot more net negative than that, let me tell you.
Most of these endeavors are for a while.
I went to Tulsa for a festival, and I'm like, I'm getting one show out of this. While I'm here, I might as well get a bunch of podcast episodes in.
Sure.
I got one where my guest, very funny, accidentally turned his mic off halfway through. And then I did one alone by myself in double checking. Good job. And then I did one alone by myself in the hotel room because 2 guys ghosted me. So I'm just like, I'm so defeated. This has not been worth it by any stretch.
That stuff can make you feel bad, right? You're just like, man, I guess everybody just thinks I'm a big loser. That's why I don't hang out with anybody. That way I'm never disappointed. I don't make plans. Just do stuff.
You just wait for someone to reach out to you?
Yeah, otherwise I just plan doing stuff by myself.
Well, I hope this makes you feel loved and wanted.
Yeah, somebody loves me. Somebody appreciates me. Thank you. All right, a little rat-a-tat-tat.
I'm going to be thinking about this for the next 6 hours. Where are we at? We're at an hour. You want to say anything else?
No, man. It's like I said, it's been fun hanging out. I'm glad you got to do the show last night. It was
Thank you very much.
Really cool for everybody involved. I think everybody did a great job. If you want to check out any of my stuff, it's KoreyDavid.com, fake Korey David with a K on Instagram. And if you want to see Interrogation, it's at Interrogation True Crime. We have monthly shows at the Downtown and South Comedy Works, which is pretty cool. The next ones we've got in the works we got one September 18th, but I don't know when this is coming out. And then we're doing 2 Halloween shows, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, very fun.
So
they're not like the Halloween roast. It's just Interrogation Halloween themed.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can find some people that have Halloween stories. I know a couple people that do, but the bigger thing is gonna be in the ticket purchase. We're gonna tell everybody to wear orange, so that way it looks like we're doing it in a prison.
That's fun.
Yeah, so all the comics, ourselves included, will be in like orange prisoner jumpsuits, and it probably have some Halloween themed stories. But yeah, I just thought the image of the crowd like all decked out in orange also would be really cool. But yeah, so we got that, and then Portland, September 21st, and that's it for the foreseeable future, man. Just kind of like happy that I've been able to do the show this long and that people seem to dig it. So
yeah,
that's it.
Follow Carbondale Comedy at Instagram.
Comedy. Yeah. Did you follow that account?
I did a long time
Yeah.
ago.
I did not keep that up.
No, you didn't.
No, I mean that show has changed hands so many times. I think I was like the 6th person to like run that show, and then at a certain point it just became like untenable. Like we weren't getting paid enough, and they wouldn't help us get a hotel.
It's not close.
It's not close. I think when I first started doing it, I was optimistic about how often I would be able to combo like go snowboarding and mountain bike and go do the show, and that just didn't
living your ultimate dream.
That really just didn't wind up happening that often. So that was just kind of everybody was ready to just be like, all right, I think we've had enough of this. So like, and I did too. Like, I don't want to run this shit anymore. So yeah, Interrogation True Crimes, the Instagram, YouTube, all that jazz. We just started putting out episodes of the show on the YouTube page, so I'm excited about that. And there's some news coming down the pipeline with more about the YouTube page and episodes and stuff, but I can't really talk about it just yet.
Whoa, a teaser for my mom.
Yeah.
Mom,
subscribe.
Subscribe. There's some stuff coming down the pipe.
Like, share, subscribe, do the thing.
There you go. Korey David. Korey, thank you very much. We can stop.